Well, hello everybody and welcome once again. It's the Logan Pettis Show. Why do we call it the Logan Pettis Show? I'm Logan Pettis. It's my show. And I'm excited about this. We have Miss Carolina Teague right here. Who is Carolina Teague? For those of you that don't know, why don't you know? She's an ESPN contributor. She is a correspondent for Booker T's Reality of Wrestling. She's the ring announcer for River City Wrestling. She's the only woman allowed in the Spurs presser, I'm told. That's crazy. And I learned this, folks. You know, I talk about this all the time. I don't do a whole lot of research for these shows. But I learned this. You're a fellow Midwesterner born in Chicago?
That is correct.
I did not know that.
Your research.
I did not know that. And it says you moved to Texas in your early teens. Was that hotter than hell, or what was that about?
My grandma got sick, and we had to come down here. It was the most heartbreaking moment of my life, though. I remember crying and watching Chicago leave through the rearview window of the truck, the U-Haul van. It's pretty sad.
And so, did you move to San Antonio, or?
We moved to San Antonio back when the Spurs won in 1999, when the Spurs won their first ring. So I was in Chicago when the Bulls won their last ring, and then came to San Antonio and the Spurs won their first ring. So I'm a little bit of good luck, I would say.
You are, yeah, absolutely. Championships everywhere you go. So I've also got this. You are question mark. You know me and my question marks. You were the Mission Pro GM. Is Mission Pro still a thing? Can we answer that question?
You know what? I cannot comment about Mission Pro at this time, but I'm still the reigning GM, and we are still a family. So I've heard things here and there. I can't give any updates at the moment, but I'm still all Mission Pro.
There are rumblings.
Very loving of that company. I love that company.
Mission Pro has a special place in my heart. Mission Pro was my start in Texas wrestling. Thunder and Brian and Jeremiah all gave me my first job. And from there, here we are. 7 years later. That's crazy.
Yeah, time flies. Yeah, they gave me my first GM opportunity. And I've seen pictures of you in the ring, so I think it's pretty cool.
You have been there, I think, for most of my career in Texas.
That's a fact. So around the time you started is when I probably started too.
In particular, at least with RCW, you've been there for more or less every show. I can think of maybe 2 or 3 where you had something going on or whatever. And then the year that I took off that we don't talk about. But yeah, she'd been there for everything. And it's fun to get to have you on the show and actually get to sit down. We don't ever get a chance to chat. We're both busy doing things.
We know. We see each other like every other month, and we always cross paths. You have to do your GM thing in the back, and we don't have time to talk. So it's really kind of interesting to get to
as you know, I'm over here orchestrating and doing this and that and the other, and to be a ring announcer, like you do the job that I wanted to do. Like I want to be Carolina when I grow up, kids. But no, because that was always the thing that I always, I was never an athletic kid. So to sit here and pretend like I know anything about sports would be just completely asinine. I mean, I watched them, yes, but when you don't play or can't play, or if I find a rock in the parking lot, I'm tripping over it, so why bother? Yeah, but I always look to people like you, the correspondents, the people there that are asking the hard questions. And I was, that always interested me. I always wanted to do that. And so coming in, I wanted to be a ring announcer. And that's a tough flippin' job. Michael Buffer makes it look so easy. But no, you've got to coordinate and get with everybody and get everybody's information. I've shown this on the show before. This is actually Carolina's card from the last show that we did, and she's got all the stats scribbled down. This is Ridley Thorne versus Emi Camacho, and so it's got the little details. Her opponent alongside the best manager Nastico from Fort Worth, Texas, one of a kind, Emi Camacho. And then on the back is, of course, this match is sponsored by Torres Irrigation. Shout out to Torres Irrigation. I've got no problem hollering at them on this show. So that is Carolina Teague. Let's talk about Carolina Teague a little bit. What do you got going on? Let's talk about League of Her Own.
I have a bone to pick with you, actually.
Boy.
As the GM of River City Wrestling, why are you stealing my cards and showing them to the whole world.
Well,
Like, don't you think that we should have a little bit of like couth, a little bit of composure, a little bit of privacy? That is my private ring announcer card.
you're
I have
ringing out.
been in the sports business for over 7 years. And in order to get to the spot where I am at, all the things that you have, I'm sorry, my light is messed up because I'm so angry. The light is secondary to what we got to talk about. It has taken me 7 years to get to this position, and I have been my own general manager at Mission Pro Wrestling. And you would think that you, Logan, I'm going to use your words against you, somebody who said you want to be a ring announcer, or that was your dream, or whatever the case may be. Now, me personally, I've been the GM, I've been the ring announcer. I love both of those spots, right? And I understand what it takes to be a general manager. Me as a general manager, I'm not putting your personal note cards in public without your consent. I just want to know why you, as general manager of River City Wrestling, are exposing our secrets. And I don't think the owner of the company, Boom Boom Brandon Oliver, would be too appreciative of you putting our notes out there and exposing my secrets. Do you know how hard I work? Do you know how much time I take to put into my craft and my notes and the things that I say? I posted something on social media not that long ago, actually yesterday, where I was trying to light a barbecue pit and I needed like scrap paper, so I used like old match cards. I was just throwing them in there, and people were reading my cards on the barbecue pit. And so my whole thing is like, you know why they're looking at it? Because they want to see how we do things. Now, why are you exposing my cards? That is my question to you.
I would think that most people would.
Wrestling, do I need to get pink here? Like, am I part of is this like a women's thing that I gotta handle? Like, mind you, I have a lot of respect for you. Okay? I have a lot of respect for you.
To be fair, here, if I can give myself away, this is not a match card, but this is a note card from a podcast that I did recently. This is a bunch of gibberish about...
I'm sorry, Logan, these people don't know this, but I told you earlier that I'm wearing my glasses, and right now I don't have my contacts in, and my eyesight is a negative 550. So whatever you're putting up to the thing, I don't know what it is.
You can't read anyway because my handwriting's so tiny. But, I mean, this will be rebroadcast later. This is just a bunch of nonsense about, hang on, this is about the April 4th, 2002 SmackDown. I did Ducking Wrestling podcast, and we talked about Hulk Hogan versus Triple H, and I just jotted down a few notes, and I do that every so often. Actually, if I look hard, here, you want terrible handwriting. Here is my research for this very show. It's like a serial killer wrote it. So,
look, Logan, I love how you're not answering the question. You're really skilled at that. I'm gonna say this. You are one of the best general managers.
Well, I've
ever come across, because trust me, I've recently had some situations where...
Coming from you, that means a lot, actually. But no.
You are a great general manager. And you know what? I'm just joking. I'm not even mad about the ring announcing card.
I found this, actually, if we want to know. See, this is where you can get mad. But I found this actually on the floor. As I was doing my due diligence after the show, I was picking up trash, and I took this, and right in my suit pocket it went.
So you know what? So then it's my fault, essentially, because I left it on the floor.
Now, I wasn't going to say that, but you heard it here first. Carolina Teague litters at RCW shows. But no, you guys think my suits are interesting, which I'm not wearing one right now. Actually, shout out to Uncle Wiggly's Wieners, sponsor of the show. But the more interesting part is what's in his pocket, because there can be who knows what. It's a file cabinet. It really is. Actually, here's a little inside. This is like inside baseball thing. As I walk out through the curtain, I'm typically carrying not only mine, but I am carrying General Manager Pink's cell phone in one of my pockets.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there you go, folks. I'm pulling back the curtain. So yeah, this is not about me. I feel like I've talked too much about me. Well, let's talk about you. What do you got going on right now? Let's talk about you're the only woman allowed in the Spurs presser. That's cool. How did that even how does that become a thing? Why? Yeah.
It's not like the Spurs are anti-woman.
Well, no, I'm not. No,
They're
I'm
not. No,
just.
I'm not saying that. I'm not
You're
saying
the
that
only
you're saying that.
correspondent, I guess I should say. I'm
For
hammer
the
and home
legit,
woman, I
that
guess.
I'm just gonna be honest with you. It makes me a little bit sad that that's the situation. But as of right now,
You're the most trusted
yeah,
correspondent. I read that on X the other day. Yeah, I read that
no.
on X.
I like.
Somebody
I
was
love Spurs. Spurs Twitter is so it's so toxic, but it's nice at the same time.
it's like the wrestling business. Yeah.
Yeah, it's made me Spurs Twitter. Shout out to them. I'm gonna actually clip the Spurs Twitter. Shout out to you guys. Because of y'all, I'm a stronger person. But I'm gonna say, first of all, when it comes to San Antonio Spurs, they have been so great for me and my career, and they've just been really good to work with as a team. And I'm not saying I work directly with them. I'm the media. I cover the team, but just them, like, just being so professional and just allowing me to cover the team. It's very, very intense. A lot of long hours. I think people just kind of assume that you just like wake up one day and you just like want to go cover the Spurs and you can do it. It's a very difficult task, and it's not easy to not only cover the Spurs but to cover the Spurs, and being a woman in the sports media field has its challenges. But I don't see myself as like the only one. I am the only woman in the locker room last year, as of last year, consistently covering the team.
You're in the locker room too. Okay. Wow. Okay.
Well, say the media room, the locker room, I
Okay.
don't have access because you have to be like a higher tier. But the fact that I'm able to do that, first of all, just like cover the team in general, like it's afforded me so many opportunities. I've been like 2 weeks ago, I was on Sports Illustrated. They featured me on Sports Center. Like it's
Wow.
just these things that I just never thought would happen, and it's because of the fact the San Antonio Spurs are a great organization. It's not like they don't want women to cover. They do want women to cover. It's not up to the Spurs to determine like who can cover and who cannot cover. It's like you have to be media, you have to be credentialed, you have to be accredited, you have to be a verified accredited journalist, and you have to have X amount of work covering the Spurs in order to cover the Spurs. So it's not like a walk in the park. You just like walk in and get there. I say that to say there needs to be more women in full-time positions in sports media because it's very male dominated in that aspect. Sports directors, they tend to be full-time. They tend to be male. And it's neither here nor there. A lot of, whatever. I'm not judging it or whatever. My whole thing is just like, it does get really lonely. I've had my days where I'm just like in the media room and I'm just like really sad and I'm by myself. Like 2 years before, there was girls everywhere and like I could just talk to them and they understood where I was coming from. I have my moments where I'm just there and like I go home, I just feel so lonely. And the athletes, they are a team. Kind of like us at RCW, like we're all a team, we all talk, we all get along. And then over there in the media group, that's all like the Spurs, they talk, they're all friends, they all trust each other. They can't trust me, I'm media. Like so they'll answer my questions, but like, do I have a relationship with them? No, because I'm not a part of their team. And the media, like they also have like camaraderie, all that stuff, and they're also a team. And then you have me, I feel very isolated. I do have my team's perfect. I have a great staff. It's Casey, Tyler, and Matt. They do an incredible job. And they're fully aware that when I'm at the games, like by myself, I do feel very isolated. So that's the main thing that I have to battle through when I'm covering the Spurs. So covering the Spurs is a lot of fun, but I think people just like see the pictures, like, and I'm happy or whatever, which I am. I'm grateful and blessed, but there's also that element where I feel very lonely. So thanks for bringing up being the only woman in the locker room because I think it's not an easy experience.
And you have done so many other things. You talked about, becoming accredited and doing these things. And I know that as I've followed your career, you've done things with, I've got it written down, the ESPN contributor thing. I know you've talked to like boxing and you've done MMA things and you've had to start down here and kind of climb your way up here. It's a lot like the wrestling business. And
Yes.
I'm the general manager of a show, but I still feel like I'm way down here most of the time.
Well, you're not. And you have to think of it like that. Like being a general manager is a huge honor. It's a huge honor to be a general manager in a wrestling company.
No, it is a big deal just for me to be a manager.
Yeah.
Why I've got this stupid thing on my wall, and I
But it's because
discredit it by calling it a
you're
stupid thing,
honestly,
but
you're meant for the job. You're a good manager.
I took a plaque and turned it into a championship belt. So,
Fantastic. I say
but
you're a
no, so
manager because when you're screaming at people.
so what you're saying is, hypothetically, yeah, if I'm a woman here, this is where I need to, where do I start if I want to be a sports correspondent? And this goes for guys too. It's not just, but specifically what we were talking about. What do I do?
Like, what do you mean? Like, if you want to cover sports?
Cover sport. How did you just do this? You said it's not like you woke up one day and it's like, I'm gonna go cover the.
I kind of did wake up one day.
I kind of did wake up.
Well, I always loved sports. I always loved radio. And one day I woke up, went on Facebook, saw an ad for a radio competition here in San Antonio, ESPN Rock the Mic. My grandmother was the #1 radio host for Tejano music in the Valley for 32 years, and she was
taking
on the
notes.
station. She had a natural voice, and I listened to radio and a lot and sports. So when the opportunity presented itself for the sports radio competition, if you won the competition, you got your spot on air. So I tried out, put my pants on, about an hour left before the cutoff time. Ended up beating over 150 people for the spot on radio. So that's how I got my start. But it wasn't like my career was just handed to me at that point. That was a whole nother beast of its own.
Definitely had to work for it. No, and I joke about taking notes. It's like,
I really genuinely don't think in radio in San Antonio, nobody at all has ever had to work as hard as I have. And I used to always be like sad for myself and just like, why can't I just have this opportunity handed to me? This bozo who does nothing, who doesn't cover anything, who's trash, he does the same mistakes that I don't even want to talk. Why does this bozo get a show? But I'm not good enough, right? I'm over here working my behind up. I used to always question why.
I hear you.
And now I understand why I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready back then. I'm ready, but I'm ready now. And I had to go through the things that I had to go through to get to where I'm at now. I have a very long way to go, but to get to where I'm at now, I had a lot of growing to do. And I'm so glad I went through the things that I went through, because now, like you said, when I look around the room, none of the people that the breaks that I was desperate for, none of them are around me.
Wow.
It happened for a reason. So that's why I'm like right now in this space with what I do in every role, whether it's ring announcer, whether it's owning my own website covering the Spurs, whether it's going to go cover the NFL Combine, whether it's going to go cover the Super Bowl, whether it's being on New York Post Sports talking about Victor Wembanyama, whether it's being on Inside Edition, whether it's running my own podcast, whether it's being on sports television. I am very confident with every single one of those roles. Commentary, I am very confident in that role too, and I know I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm just saying I know what I have to improve on, and I mean confident in a way where when I say I'm confident in every role, I mean that if somebody were to step to me and say you don't deserve that spot, it wouldn't make me feel a certain type of way, because I know I deserve to be in that spot. Back then, I think it would have affected me, but now I'm like, whatever. I know I deserved it and I earned to be here. Like, I feel like every role that I get, I deserve it. And that was one of the biggest barriers that I had to overcome was, do I deserve to be here? Because for so many years, people would always say, I don't deserve what I have.
Yeah, I get that one. I struggled with that one for a long time.
So my answer to your question, I know, right? It takes time to get there. So the question is, what do you do if you want to start? I always tell people the exact same thing. And I already just complimented you before this started. You're consistent. You are consistent. That is all that matters. The only reason why I'm still here is because
Consistently bad. But anyway, yeah. No.
it doesn't matter. You're still consistent. As long as you don't give up. Do you know how many people I have seen and I tell them exactly what to do? Just do it. Just do it. You want to start a podcast? You said you don't know how to edit for the life of you. You know what I mean? Like you could edit a lick of a clip, right? But you are here recording a podcast and you're posting it. That is 100 steps ahead of the people that I have given advice to and tell them to just do it. They don't do it. They get scared. They let fear stop them. So the fact that you're able to overcome the fears, overcome the insecurity of not being able to edit, overcome the insecurities of maybe I'm not where I'm at, where I want to be in the wrestling business, overcome the insecurities of or the feedback of, oh, he's not prepared and blah, blah. It doesn't matter. You just do it. So you are already on your path to whatever greatness that you want to be on. If you see your vision as being that wrestling guy that gets to interview all the best wrestlers on planet Earth, you're already there. You're already there. You know how to get people on. You reached out to me. You were consistent. The consistency is all that matters.
Consistent, persistent. How long have I been in Carolina?
Resistant.
Yeah, it's like I'm going to do a thing. I don't know what the thing is that I'm going to do. It's just,
Nobody ever does. I didn't know. I didn't know I was being wrestling. Like, nobody ever does. Like, you just, like, it'll come to you.
I've done everything from music to whatever. If you ever looked at my resume, it's like this guy never knew what he wanted to be when he grew up. And I still don't. And so I'm just not going to grow up is basically where I am. So we talked a little bit about the sports. I know you've got a time you want. But and I'm trying to maximize my time here. So, yeah, you got into the wrestling thing. And I mean, I know a little bit about this story, but for somebody that doesn't necessarily. So, wrestling, how did that happen? How did that happen? Yeah.
So, when I was on radio, Brandon Oliver would come to the ESPN San Antonio station and we'd have to interview wrestlers. And back in the day, they didn't let me, I wouldn't say they didn't let.
Wrestling's for boys, Carolina.
For the NFL, I would want to cover the NBA. I wasn't ready. So I got to do all the local stuff. And when I say local stuff, I don't mean local San Antonio Spurs, local World Boxing Champions.
Like how I've begged you to come on the stupid Luling High School.
Yeah, the independent stuff. Independent combat sports was where they put me. They wanted me to be the combat sports girl, but whenever a big combat sports person would come, I didn't get to interview the big combat sports people either. So I just got the indie stuff. And so the first interview I ever had was, if I'm not mistaken, it was either Shane Taylor or Rebel Tanea, one or the other. I can't remember. Okay. I'm pretty sure it was Rebel though. Pretty positive it was Rebel. And I interviewed her. Brandon asked me to be guest GM, and it's been best experience of my life. And I tell Brandon every single time that I get to, every single time I get to give Brandon flower, I will, because I would not have a career right now at all if it wasn't for Brandon Oliver. Brandon Oliver planted a seed. He planted a seed, and I am just so beyond.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah.
Honestly, I could do more with the seed that has been planted, but I don't because
we all can't.
I
wake up every day mad at myself because I could go home and I can't.
I mean, that's this show. That's what I'm attempting to do. It's like, hey, let's do something crazy. If I'm doing a drink review on, I've got a sister channel to my YouTube channel where this goes. And everywhere that I travel a lot. And so we'll just sit down. I like to drink weird stuff. And it's just like, let's slam back a thing and give it a review of 5 out of, whatever bottle caps. And
you know who you need to get on then? And I was going to post her clip. Miranda Gordy. She has her own liquor and alcohol brand.
Berry. So, fun story. Miranda and Craig are from my hometown. Actually, Craig started my wrestling training back in 2000 and whatever. And then he and I butted heads over something stupid, but we're fine now. But yes, I love Craig and Miranda, and the shout out Windy Wine Company. just outside of St. Joe, Missouri, where I am from. See, I told you we're fellow
Yeah.
Midwesterners. Well, folks, that is Carolina Teague. And yeah, this is the Logan Pettis Show. We thank you so much, Carolina, for coming on and being an inspiration. We'll have to have you come on and be a nice breath of fresh air again sometime in the future, and we can deep dive into who knows what. That's the fun part about the show is
I haven't done a
it's about that.
podcast in I think almost a year, but I had to come through for my favorite GM.
You're still before we go. Are you still doing League of Her Own, or are you busy doing stuff?
I am not doing League of Our Own. That's what I'm doing. I'm uploading a vlog tonight.
Promote yourself. Yes, absolutely. Tell us about what you're doing before we leave.
Be a boss Latina, featuring me and Sam Naheda from Bean and Cheesemate. We're poolside eating shrimp, and we're talking about how to be a boss Latina. We're talking about Yolanda Saldivar, and we're talking about how to be F-boy free. And I explain what an F-boy is in my...
Wow. Well, there you have it, folks. Carolina Teague poolside talking about F-boys. This could be fun. Anyway, for the Logan Pettis Show, for CT the Mike Slayer, Carolina Teague over here, we will see y'all in the future when we see y'all. So have a good one.